Last year, the Nissan Rogue was America's 5th best-selling vehicle. Well, that's not strictly true because Nissan lumps together sales of the Rogue and the Rogue Sport, but still, selling over 412,000 units of one general nameplate is impressive. Those sales figures are even more impressive when you consider that the Rogue is one of the oldest vehicles in the small SUV segment. Since this basic Rogue launched in 2014, Subaru, Mazda, Honda, Toyota, Kia, Chevy, and VW have all introduced new small SUVs, and with the exception of the Toyota RAV4, the 5-year-old Nissan Rogue still outsells them all. So today I thought I'd put the 2019 Rogue under a microscope to try and figure out what makes this oldie still a goodie in the eyes of modern SUV buyers. No, I don't think so. The Rogue isn't a bad-looking vehicle, but it's not an Alfa Romeo 8C either. I do like how these lines kind of start at the hood and then go down the sides of the body, but overall, I don't think this looks as crisp and modern as the newer Mazda CX-5. I also have a hard time looking past Nissan's V-Motion grille. Someone once mentioned to me that this grille design reminded them of beaver teeth, and now that's all I can think about when I look at the front end of a Nissan. Okay, so I made that term up, but I do think it's a real thing. People just seem to be drawn to vehicles with the aura of capabilities, even if they don't need it, which explains why Bob down at accounts receivable commutes to work every day in a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. The Nissan Rogue doesn't have the SUV-ness of the new Toyota RAV4 or Jeep Cherokee Trailhawk, but I think it does well in this category. The Rogue has good ground clearance, and these wheel arches further toughen the SUV's look. And unlike other modern crossovers that use a slanted car-like C-pillar, the Rogue's is vertical and blacked out, so it has more of a classic boxy SUV shape. And just for good measure, Nissan threw in an all-wheel drive lock button. The Rogue won't wow you with its interior design, but everything in here is practical and well thought out. And that's really what buyers in this segment are looking for, which is probably another reason why the Rogue sells as well as it does. The Rogue's center stack is logically arranged with big buttons and knobs for the radio and the climate controls. The gauge cluster consists of easy-to-read analog dials and a good-sized color LCD screen for supplemental information. Steering wheel controls are simply labeled, and Nissan even incorporated all of the Rogue's various semi-autonomous systems into one easy-to-use button. There's also plenty of storage space thanks to a generous center console and door pockets that are actually big enough to fit things. Yeah, I could see buying the Rogue for its comfort. These seats have good thigh support, and there's even a bit of bolstering to keep you in place. There's no ventilated seat function, but this does have heated seats and a heated steering wheel, which go a long way in keeping me comfortable on this frigid day. If you're the one buying the Rogue, you probably won't spend much time in the back seat, but you'll be happy to know your rear seat passenger should be comfortable too. I have this seat set to where I would be driving, and I still have plenty of legroom. And even though this has the optional panoramic sunroof, I also have a couple of inches of headroom. Well, that's a silly question. It's an SUV. Of course it has lots of room in the back. That's why people buy SUVs. Not exactly. The screen isn't that big, the resolution isn't that good, and not all of the menus are logically arranged. And there's no physical home button, so I'm not always sure how to get back to the main screen. And there are also issues with this embedded navigation system. I find that oftentimes it's short on details. For example, it won't give you the name of a crossroad. And it also seems to wait till the last second to give you a direction prompt. So if you're relying on this to get where you're going, be prepared to make a few wrong turns. Luckily, this system runs both Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but it's annoying that you have to plug in your phone every time you drive just to avoid using the car's infotainment system. Surprisingly, yes. Older vehicle designs tend to fall short when it comes to available tech, but that's actually one of the Rogue's strong suits. In addition to its backup camera, the Rogue also has parking sensors and a 360-degree camera, which makes parking in tight spaces a snap. The Rogue is also available with Nissan's semi-autonomous Pro Pilot system. That safety suite includes tech like adaptive cruise control with stop and go, forward collision warning, and lane keep assist. Before I answer that question, I should probably give some context. Most people aren't buying a small SUV for the driving experience, but rather the lack of a driving experience. Allow me to explain what I'm getting on about. If you're shopping for a two-door coupe, you probably want sharp steering, a sporty suspension, and a raspy exhaust note. But if you're shopping for a small SUV, you probably just want easy steering, a comfortable ride, and a quiet cabin. Basically, just a nice, relaxing place to listen to NPR in on your way to work. And in that regard, the Rogue's driving experience is one of the best in the class. Steering is light without the nuisance of road feel, the suspension is soft so it isolates you from uneven pavement, and the cabin is quiet enough to listen to all things considered at a reasonable volume. quite. The Nissan Rogue is ranked as a top safety pick by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, with the SUV only failing to ace the Institute's headlight test. I certainly hope not. On paper, this Rogue actually has decent fuel economy. This all-wheel drive model is rated at 25 miles per gallon in the city and 32 miles per gallon on the highway. But good luck achieving those figures. I'm averaging about 25 miles per gallon in highway driving, and around town, I'm in the mid-teens. I'd call the Rogue okay value for money. Prices start at just under $25,000, which is a little bit less than a Toyota RAV4 or Jeep Cherokee, but still more than a Honda CR-V or Subaru Forester. And on the high end, the Rogue tops out at about $36,000, which again is mid-pack. That's less than you'll pay for a fully loaded Volkswagen Tiguan, but still more than the Forester. It's at this point that I was hoping to be able to tell you the exact ingredients of the Rogue special sauce, but this is one recipe I can't figure out. None of the Rogue's individual flavors stand out. They all just kind of blend together to make one unoffending taste. But maybe therein lies the secret. In a segment where excitement doesn't sell, maybe a middle-of-the-road approach is the way to go. Well, that and lumping two nameplates together to get better sales numbers.